Hello and welcome to Monson Made This. My name is Michael and I cook vegan food. So if you're interested in that, definitely click the subscribe button below and click the thumbs up while you are there. Today, though, actually, I'm not going to be cooking anything. I'm going to be just kind of assembling and blending together 4 different delicious holiday dishes or sides or snacks or appetizers that you can bring to all of the Friendsgivings and holiday parties you are invited to this holiday season. The first thing I'm going to make is a really easy tofu cream cheese, and I'll show you a couple of variations for that and a couple ways to serve it. I'll be making a white bean hummus, again, a couple of variations for that. I'll be making a spicy mixed nut mix, and lastly, I'm going to just open up a few cans of things and show you how to make those look good. So let's get started with the cream cheese. Now, if you saw my video a couple of weeks ago for baked tofu cream cheese, we're essentially going to be making a very similar recipe to that, but we are going to be using super firm tofu as opposed to baked tofu. And I'm just going to be cutting this up into smaller pieces so it blends a little bit easier. Now, in that previous video, I used a sriracha baked tofu and a savory baked tofu and a smoked tofu. But to get just kind of a basic cream cheese flavor with this one, we are just using super firm tofu. If you don't have super firm tofu, you could always just use tofu that you've pressed, but you want about 7 ounces. Don't worry about writing that down now. You can just actually go to the link below for all of these recipes or recipe ideas. So I have the tofu in here. I'm going to be adding some blanched almonds that I've actually soaked. You can use cashews if you don't have almonds, but it's really important that they are soaked because you want them to be soft without us having to add a bunch of extra liquid. To that, I'm adding some lemon juice, and I'm going to be adding nutritional yeast, and I'm just going to eyeball it here. A little bit of salt. Salt's really important when you are making vegan cheeses. It's what carries the flavor. And we're going to be doing a few different variations, like I said, of this. So we're just kind of making kind of a generic base at this point. The thing that's going to give it great texture and a little bit of fattiness, a little bit of firmness is coconut cream. Now I've saved the can to show you. It does say coconut cream. This isn't coconut milk. It's essentially, it says 30% coconut fat. And as opposed to just using coconut oil, the cream just adds a bit more creaminess. It still gives you the firmness once it's set up in the fridge. And it has a slight coconut flavor, but nothing that's going to overpower the dish. So that's everything that's going in there. Let's go ahead and turn it on. You also really want to use a food processor for this. This is not a job for a blender. The food processor, because it's, again, allows you to do it without too much liquid. I don't think you'll be able to get the mixture blending up very well at all if you're trying to do this in a blender. So we broke it up. I just scraped down the sides. And now this is just going to keep going basically until it starts to cream together. All of these bits will fall into the blades and eventually we'll get a really nice, soft, creamy cream cheese texture. And every once in a while, you want to stop it, scrape down the sides, just to make sure that everything is getting, everything's getting in the blades. In total, this will probably blend for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Using soaked cashews, it's going to maybe be a little bit creamier, but I like the texture that the almonds give this. I don't want to say it's a little bit gritty, but it has kind of the texture of a whipped cream cheese. but I don't know, there's still some little bits of almond that you just absolutely can't get rid of because of the food processor. But I think it gives just a nice mouthfeel to the cheese spread. All right, so everything's pretty much in the blades. It's really getting creamy. Just gonna let it keep going. So if you watch that previous video where I made the other flavors of it and served it with the R.W. Garcia crackers, I actually saved one of those and froze it. So if you pack this in, or if you wrap it in plastic wrap, you can save it in your freezer for, I don't know, mine was there since September. It thawed, came out perfectly, and I'll even show you what I did with it. All right, this looks great. So let's talk about how we're going to serve it. Let me actually straighten up here a little bit, and then I'll get some dishes and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. All right, so this cute little hedgehog here is actually the sriracha coconut cheese spread from that previous video. And what I did is just kind of formed it into a little, I guess it's kind of like a teardrop shape. Put some, I guess they're peppercorns. I guess they are. They are peppercorns. Put some peppercorns in there for eyes and a nose, and then put some slivered almonds in there for the spikes. So, you know, it's sort of like the updated Sonic. So that's definitely an option for serving it. Additionally, I actually made this one last night, same cheese spread, and you can easily use one of these like springform pans and pop it open, and you have a delicious kind of cheese wheel that you can use to make a cheese platter. And this is just a very, I guess it's kind of just like a cream cheese-esque flavor. So it's waiting for you to embellish it. And that's what we're gonna be doing today. Now, this spread that I just made, I'm going to be putting it into two separate little dishes here. And the point of this is that I'm going to top them with, one of them I'm going to top with a jalapeno jelly that I've made. And the other one I'm going to top with a chutney. And you can use any size dish. You can do the same thing that I'm about to do with the cheese wheel. You don't necessarily have to do it in these kind of dishes. You could put it into ramekins. But the point is that we're gonna get the cheese spread in here, and then we're just gonna top it with these kind of fruit jellies or chutneys. So I'm just going to smooth down the top on both of these. These would be best if you let them kind of refrigerate overnight. But, you know, if you were in a hurry, you had to run, you could assemble this and just bring it directly to the party. You do definitely want to soak the nuts for a little while. I mean, there is a quick soak method, but otherwise you could probably make this the day of the party and bring it with you that evening. A little bit too much in this one. All right, so I'm just evening the top out. And then let's go ahead and add some jellies. First one is this jalapeno jelly. Now, I'm probably going to be doing a Christmas gift idea episode, and I think I would do this. So I'm just putting some of this jalapeno jelly, really easy recipe. You can also just buy this in the store, pepper jelly. And I'm just gonna put this on top. And this is just a sweet, spicy, again, it's mostly just jalapenos and sugar. And then this here, I just bought it at Trader Joe's, mango ginger chutney. And I'm gonna do the same, just top it. I would probably serve a little bit more of each of these on the side. That looks good. So we have the mango chutney cheese spread. We have the jalapeno cheese spread. Again, you could do that with the wheel and just kind of pour the sauces over it. You could make a hedgehog. And what we need to do is then just put some crackers or toasted bread around it, and we're ready to go. So I'll set these aside. We'll assemble like the full experience later. But I'm gonna set these aside, clean things up a little bit, and we'll get onto the white bean hummus. Hi. Disaster. You're not getting anything yet. I know it's close to your dinner time. You guys are just gonna have to wait, okay? We're almost done. All right, let's throw together a really quick white bean hummus. Now, this is by no means traditional hummus, but I just want to kind of give you this base recipe because once you start making your hummus, I'll put hummus in quotes there, hummus. Once you start using white beans for your hummus, it's going to completely just like change your hummus world. So I just have 1 can of white beans in here that I've drained, rinsed, adding a bit of garlic. Again, all of the amounts will be on the website. I'm going to add some tahini. Pretty much what you need, the have-to-haves for this are the beans, the tahini, the garlic, and lemon juice. Now, normally you have to add water when you use garbanzo beans. I find that using these white beans, you don't really have to add water. It makes the flavor a little bit stronger. I'm gonna add a bit of salt, even though my beans are salted. And thought I had a half of a lemon, but I need to cut this up. And it's up to you if you want to use kind of a half lemon or a whole lemon. I kind of like a slightly more lemony hummus, so I'll start with a half, but I'll probably end up using the whole thing. All right, so that's essentially the base. Not necessarily traditional, but I think this is just a really solid start so that you can add your own flavors and variation too. So let's get it blending. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a taste. Beautiful, creamy. I nailed it. I'm actually not gonna put in the other half. I think it's perfect as it is. I'm gonna let it go just for another like 10 seconds or so. It just a little, part of me just feels like it needs a little bit more, but man, the white beans, so much more creamy. This isn't my own idea. I was listening to a podcast for a while called Live Planted, which was a great vegan zero waste podcast, and the host of that show swore that white beans are the way to go. And honestly, I've been stocking white beans for months now because of how easy this is, and I just feel like it's so much better than garbanzo beans or chickpeas. So, all right, this is done. This is ready to go. I'm gonna straighten up a little bit here because I just threw everything on this counter, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna plate this up in a couple of variations that I think are really good for this particular white bean hummus. All right, so I'm just gonna take the blades out here to make it easier for me. And I'm gonna be doing 2 flavors like I've been saying, and so I'm gonna divide this into 2 separate containers. You could add flavors to it before you dish it up, but I kind of like the idea of adding the flavor on top. And these particular dishes here, along with everything that I have, are all from the thrift store, and I think a really great idea. Instead of just like using Gladware or something like that to bring food to a party, if you have some extra time, maybe go check out a thrift store, find something kind of unique and interesting that you can use to serve your food and, I don't know, make a little bit of a statement with your food. I mean, it's like, oh, I just threw together some hummus, but I also brought this really cool dish, and if you aren't too attached to it, maybe even leave it as a host or hostess gift. Just an idea. Okay, I think I got those pretty even. So one of these is going to be a spicy kind of red pepper, and the other I'm going to do with just an everything but the bagel seasoning. And I want to put a little bit of a groove, or at least give some texture here so that there's a place for the I was gonna say seasoning, but yeah, seasoning, the oil and stuff that we're gonna be using to flavor this on top. So what I have here, let's actually rewind. So I have some olive oil and this stuff here, which is Italian bomb hot pepper sauce. You could also use harissa paste. You could also just use paprika if you didn't want to worry about the spice. You could use chili crunch, which is a really delicious chili oil. But I've just put the Tuffy's trying to get to his food. But I've put the harissa paste or the pepper paste in with the olive oil, and this just adds a lot of nice color. This one is pretty spicy because this harissa or this chili paste that I have is quite spicy. So I'm just gonna drizzle this on top. Love that color. The other one, really easy for the people that might not like spice. I just got this everything but the bagel seasoning, and I'm just gonna pretty liberally sprinkle this on top. And then also add a nice puddle of olive oil. And there we go. Just like the cheeses, I'll be adding the sort of bread cracker moment at the end, but here we have a delicious, spicy harissa white bean hummus and an everything but the bagel hummus, and they look delicious. Exciting. Well, the hard part is over. It's on to the two easiest ones. We've made a cheese spread, we've made a hummus. Now it's time to make some spiced mixed nuts. This is super easy. All you need are some mixed nuts. These are roasted and unsalted. You can choose whatever kind of mixed nuts you would like. And this recipe or this ratio is for 1 cup of mixed nuts. You could double it, triple it. You could do a few different flavors. The oil I'm using for this particular batch is toasted sesame oil. If you didn't want this strong flavor, you could use just some olive oil. But for 1 cup of nuts, you need 1/4 cup of oil. And I'm just going to drizzle that on here. Now, this is not going to be super oily, but it's what's going to help these spices stick. So I'm just gonna toss those nuts in the oil. And I have a few different kind of options here. I have some garlic powder. You could just do sort of like a garlic and chili. I've got some other seasoning and spice blends, but today I think I'm going to do a garlic curry. So I have just some curry powder, and you want just kind of about 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon for this amount, but I would suggest maybe, depending on your spices, just kind of taste it as you go and see if you've got it seasoned right. A little bit of garlic powder. And my salt is way over here, excuse me, Odie. And just a pinch of salt. Again, these are unsalted nuts. And then we're just gonna toss these together. In addition to helping those spices stick, that sesame oil just adds such a great flavor. The nuts will absorb it a little bit, but you'll still have the seasoning on the outside of the nuts. So let's go ahead and give one of these a taste. Needs more of everything. So just a little bit more curry powder, a little bit more salt. And I prefer like a kosher, like a larger grain salt. It's not really the time that you want a really small grain table salt. All right, this looks good, well seasoned. Now, as I was talking about dishes, I think this looks really great in a nice kind of cocktail glass. You could do a few different types, as I said before, a few different flavors, and just fill up different glasses with different flavored nuts, have people guess what they are. And that's it. Really easy, spiced, mixed nuts. That's a recipe, right? So good, I love the curry. Well, we are on to the very last one, and this is the easiest. It's more of an idea. So I found at Trader Joe's, which this whole video probably seems like a commercial for Trader Joe's, but I found a few different cans of things at Trader Joe's that are really good just for kind of putting into a bowl and serving as like a side to go like scooped on bread or with crackers or just kind of as a little picky. And sometimes you just need something really quick, easy, and delicious, and these are just a little bit more fun than kind of your average canned thing. So the first one I have here is this one, eggplant and with tomatoes and onions. I have giant baked beans, and then of course everyone's favorite dolma. So I'm just gonna pop these cans open, try to make them look nice on a plate. Again, these are just thrift store plates that I found that dress up your average canned food to make them look a little bit nicer. Dolmas can stick a little bit, so I'm using some chopsticks to help me get them out of here. And of course you want to reserve this sauce, delicious for dipping bread in. It's It's basically just olive oil. If you were serving a party of people that really enjoyed these, obviously you'd probably want to bring a couple of cans, but I find that these are always a hit at parties. People genuinely love these, and how easy was that? Maybe garnish it with a little bit of fresh parsley, but there you go, a plate of dolma. Next thing, let's go ahead with the eggplant and tomatoes. This would be actually really great if you maybe went an extra step and decided to just kind of toss them into a blender or a food processor and make more of a dip out of it. But as it is here, I'll show you, it's kind of thick, big pieces of eggplant, but it's full of flavor, olive oil, tomato, smells incredible. In addition to finding these at, Trader Joe's, you could easily find these at an international market. And I'm just gonna break it up with my fork a little bit. But otherwise, this dish is done as well. Super easy, and it's kind of impressive. I mean, it doesn't look like it now, but I'll put some cilantro over the top to make it look pretty. Let me grab another bowl and I will show you what those beans look like as well. All right, so I didn't have another like pretty fancy bowl, so I just grabbed a clear one to keep with the glass theme I have going here. And I also picked up a little bit of cilantro. Again, these would be great if you blended them up, made them into a bit of a hummus. But I don't know, I always find that like it's really fancy for people to make like a quick and easy snack out of like canned anchovies or sardines. It seems very chic and very French or something. And so I find this is kind of a similar thing, right? It's kind of this gourmet, like, oh, it's just out of a can, but it's delicious and gourmet. I know, that's what I'm going for anyways. So let's put a little bit of cilantro just for color. I think parsley would be good as well. Just a couple leaves, okay. And there we go, super easy, delicious, lazy, holiday snacks, appetizers. Let's get everything kind of together. I'll try to fit it all on my island here, and then we'll add crackers and some bread and stuff, and we'll be ready to serve. Look at this delicious spread. We have 2 different kinds of white bean hummus. We have 2 different kinds of cheeses with a jalapeno jelly, with a chutney. We have these super easy, just open a can and put it on a plate things. We got the dolma, we got the beans, we got this delicious eggplant, and of course the cutest little hedgehog here made out of our vegan cheese. Not to forget these nuts here, delicious spicy curry nuts. This whole thing came together really quickly, and again, it's just a few things that you can quickly just throw together, throw in your food processor, throw on a cute plate, head out to a party, or even just put together a spread like this and have a few people over. So I hope I was able to inspire you, give you a few ideas. Again, specific recipes for the cheeses and the hummus will be on my website, which is linked down below, or monsonmadethis.com. Also check out my Patreon, which is patreon.com/monsonmadethis, and that's where I do Monson Ate This, which is where I will be tasting a lot of these different foods and chatting with you and talking with you about some upcoming things for this channel. So thank you for watching. Thank you for giving this a thumbs up. I'll see you next time with a brand new recipe video, and y'all have a great time. Happy holidays. Yeah, bye.